Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Afternoon Tune. I'm your host, Josh, and with me are my two co-hosts.
It's your boy Chase.
And it's your boy Nick.
And we got some nice special guest stars with us, three special guest stars. We got Jena, that's with us.
Yes, howdy ho there, neighbors.
We got Ganja with us.
How y'all doing?
And we got a friend of mine, from longtime friend from high school, over 10 years, Yelsyn is here.
What up?
Yeah. So we got a nice packed show with a packed group of people here. We're going to talk about Judas and the Black Messiah. Going to discuss To All the Boys, Always and Forever. Also going to delve into that new episode of WandaVision, as well as go over some of the news. Gina Carano. I'm going to discuss the Super Bowl a little bit. Trailers that came from that. Also discuss the Last of Us TV show. There's been some casting developments in that. So we're going to go over that. How is everybody doing? Is everybody doing good?
I'm doing Gucci, bro. How are you doing, man?
Good.
I'm not gonna lie, kind of exhausted. That movie kind of, Judas and the Black Messiah was kind of exhausted.
Yeah, that shit took it out of me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was emotional. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I guess let's just get right into it, discussing it. So you have Judas and the Black Messiah, starring Lakeith Stanfield and Daniel Kaluuya. It is the story based in 1960 Chicago, following William O'Neill, who was an FBI informant whose job was to infiltrate the Black Panther Party, especially the Illinois chapter, led by Fred Hampton. This movie is directed by Shaka King. And so it mainly follows Keith Stansfield's character as William O'Neill, and his kind of journey, infiltrating this organization and, being kind of this FBI informant and learning what the organization is, what it did, that, he's seeing it from a lens originally as this FBI informant being told by these FBI people, especially when you have Fat Damon in this as well, who's the FBI informant, who's kind of feeding this information that them and he compares Black Panther Party just to the KKK. They're one and the same, two sides of the same coin, right? Is no different than what you hear today with people comparing BLM to KKK and things like that. So it's very, very similar rhetoric, very similar stuff. So I'm going to pass around to all these different people, and get your just general impression, general thoughts on the movie. Give mine first. Thought the performances were really great, especially Daniel Kaluuya, because throughout the film, you see, especially at the end, you see Fred Hampton actually speak in the way he talked, the way he had this charisma and this charm, and it brings back to something we also reviewed earlier, MLK and the FBI, because this film opens with discussing J. Edgar Hoover, and he's like the fear of the Black Messiah, right? The fear that of a Black person who's charismatic and intelligent, and the ability to unite all these different groups of people together to fight the common enemy, and that was like the government's greatest fear, and so I just kind of like that, and like how it kind of ties back all into things like that. So I'm gonna toss it to you, Chase. What were your general thoughts on the film here?
I loved it. This was honestly the first time I've ever felt like, I haven't cried watching a movie in a minute, but these weren't like tears of just pure sadness. These were like tears of rage. Like, I was angry, I was heated. But I think that is just a testament to the storytelling that is in this film. It's frustrating to follow the informant because in one end they do a pretty solid job making you sympathize with him. Kind of just this aimless sort of kid that just was doing the wrong thing at the wrong time, and then ended up, with a choice of that would kind of like risk his survival. Now I still don't really like him, and he's very much so not a likable protagonist, but I do think he is an interesting one to follow, and see, and an interesting guy to use to follow the life of Fred Hampton. And I'm very happy that they didn't sugarcoat Fred Hampton's ideology. They didn't pull any punches on like trying to Americanize him or make him like palatable for like, you know, the capitalist white audience. It was kind of just like, all right, no, he was a socialist, and like here's the good reasons for why you might want to become a socialist too, because you know he was saying some deep shit. But I'm gonna pass it on to Nick.
Yeah, just going back, piggybacking off what you guys said, the performance in this movie are amazing, especially Daniel Kaluuya, who absolutely deserves all recognition, all the accolades he's going to get from this performance. That Golden Globe nomination we talked about last week, well deserved.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, Chayse, that I was impressed how this movie isn't sugarcoating anything. Because they do point out that, yes, the FBI, at the time under the direction of J. Edgar Hoover, they did some shady fucking shit.
Yeah.
And they're not pulling any punches and saying, yeah, the Black Panther Party, they also kind of did, they were also like kind of going into the more shadier methods, at least as far as that one example that they brought up in the movie, where they caught an informant within their ranks, and how they supposedly murdered him. But this is information given to us by the FBI character, so I don't know how much of it to believe.
Well, actually, there was an article that just got released, documents from the FBI that basically just confirmed that they did assassinate Fred Hampton. So they did release documents about that recently, actually. Yeah,
yep.
But I mean, that whole incident.
And I agree with you that that Lakeith Stanfield, he is not a likable protagonist at all. In fact, the entire movie I was just waiting for him to get caught being a rat. I was like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
But then that little epilogue that they have at the end of the movie is just, it's not spoilers because it's history, but goddamn, that hit me.
Yeah.
It was like I mentioned a couple episodes ago, it's very easy to make me cry in movies. This movie broke me.
Yeah.
Jenna, what were your thoughts?
I feel like this, I wish this set came out in theaters. I wish that this set came out in 2018. I feel like the public discourse is going to influence how well received this film is, because people are a bit exhausted, and the bandwagoning of being into social justice and Black Lives Matter is not as impactful as it was even last year. But I'm happy to see this film made, because this film was in limbo for a very long time. Fred Hampton I knew about this film years ago. This film was supposed to be made years ago. And I'm glad that they were able to balance the technical aspects of filmmaking to where it's a beautifully shot film. And I understand that I can watch this film and know that everything that happened here is 100% accurate, or accurate as it can be. So this type of film is hard to review, because I can say the performance is great, what they are. Lakeith Stanfield still made that character a lot more empathetic than I feel the actual person deserves to be, because I read about the actual person. And this, this goes into the history of like how Yelsyn was like, snitches get stitches, and that type of mentality in the Black community, and where it came from. It was from incidents like this. So it was very difficult for me to watch this film, because I knew that we could be mad at William O'Neill all we want to, but he was still used by our government to destroy a movement that was for the protection and uplifting of Black folks. So this film did a very good job of making sure we know who to be mad at. And a film I referenced when we were talking earlier was Queen and Slim, and how people had an issue with one of the characters in the end and their motivations for what they did. This was literally, that was a call out to this film, to Fred Hampton, that sometimes it be your own people, you know. This film is beautifully shot. It's well made. Shaka King, I can't wait to see what else he does. He's more than a competent director. He has more than films underneath his belt. And this is a film that everyone needs to see. It's not really a choice. And if you want to know anything about American history, this is what you need to know. And you also need to understand that it hasn't changed. COINTELPRO was just put under a different name. It still exists today, actually. So this is very relevant. It's not something that happened that long ago. A lot of his son is still alive. The mother is still alive. So, you know, it's one of those things where I hope folks who see this film really take it seriously and understand that we still live in a country where our government suppresses our right to liberty and justice. So thank you to everyone who was involved in that film and for making this film. And thank you, Fred Hampton, for all, and all the Black Panthers and folks who did what they had to do to make sure we all could be on here. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yelsyn?
Man, like, it was an amazing movie. Great acting all around. One thing that this watching this movie kind of gave me a similar feeling to when I watched Fruitvale Station for the first time, with the whole like Oscar Grant situation and stuff. RIP to him. But yeah, man, like, just speaking from someone that's been grown up in like a certain atmosphere and stuff, like, it just gave me another reason to hate cops. I'm just being like blunt with you, they're fucking idiots, bro. But like other than that, man, like I really thought it was really good storytelling. To be honest, like, I've heard of Fred Hampton many times and stuff, but I didn't know about his story until I watched the movie. So like I think that this movie came out at the right time, especially after all the protests that just recently happened last year and stuff. Like, I feel like last year is a good example of like how, you know, like, it kind of feels like people are like starting to like get a sense of what's going on. And I feel like once this movie dropped today, like, I feel like that this gave like another, I don't know, like, they just gave people like another source of like trying to figure out exactly where our feelings come from when it comes to this type of situation. So I thought it was a great movie. The guy Daniel, he's a great actor altogether. Like, I'm a big fan of him. He played in Get Out, great movie as well. But yeah, man, like I thought it was an amazing movie, great storytelling. Like, I felt like that the supporting cast and stuff was also really good. I don't know this person's name, but I think he was in this other movie where like he got gunned down by the police. This came out like a couple years ago.
You're talking Algie Smith?
I don't know.
He was the kid who got shot in The Hate You Give.
Yeah.
And he was also just recently in Euphoria.
Yep, absolutely. He's a really good actor. Like, I just feel like that whoever cast these characters and stuff, the way they did an amazing job. Everybody knew their role. Like I feel like it was good chemistry all around with Fred and his girlfriend or wife. I don't know if they was married. But yeah, man, like, I just thought it was a great movie. Like, I thought that they paid good attention to detail, especially for the ending scene. Spoiler alert, when
spoiler alert for history.
Well, yeah.
Whoa! Don't see Lincoln. He gets shot in the end.
But like when they raided his house, and stuff, like I thought it was good attention to detail to make us hate police even more by like a cop pointed the gun towards the girl's stomach when she was pregnant and stuff. Like, fucking crazy, man. No,
that scene was actually verbatim, actually, what they all said.
Yeah.
In that last scene, yep.
Crazy, man. Like I just feel like it was well written, man. Like and I feel like that the acting was super incredible. I don't want to keep repeating myself and stuff, but I really thought it was a great movie for sure.
So Ganja, I want to get you in this discussion here, because some critiques I've seen online about it, they said it doesn't delve into Fred Hampton's political ideology enough, that it doesn't go that far, that
Alright,
that
so
doesn't go very well. So I want to get your thoughts on that coming in here. If you're comfortable stating your political ideology and things like that, and
oh yeah, I have no problem. I'm a registered card-carrying communist, a member of the Communist Party USA specifically. So I have a lot of history with communist ideology. I'm actually well learned in a lot of stuff. Believe it or not, Jena was the first one I ever had a conversation with communism way back in the day. So if anyone was helping radicalize me back in that, yeah, so it was her talking about that stuff with me back when I was a little liberal. But one of the things that I do want to touch on, and I think that a lot of the critiques come especially from a lot of the leftist liberal perspective, so like ultras and kind of things like that. If people don't know what they're talking about, it's people that are more on the extreme side of socialism. They're kind of on the same type of social justice warriors. They just carry a hammer sickle banner, and I think the reason is they're pissed off is because it focuses on Linfield as his character as O'Neill rather than Fred Hampton's biopic. But I understand where the film's coming in that perspective, because let's be honest, the main reason they couldn't get this film made was because they were trying to focus too much on Fred, and no studio producer wants to touch that with a 10-foot pole. But adding the drama and the character development of the quote-unquote anti-hero, Hollywood loves that and eats it up any chance they get. So this was a good way to get the movie produced. So I don't see that criticism being valid, especially as you watch the movie. Hell, the first 5 minutes of the film, they talk about how this man can unite the communists, the ultra lefts, and all the different new radical groups that are in America. So I don't understand where this criticism comes from, that it doesn't touch on his communist political ideology, which in the first 5 minutes, it's right there in front and center. Not to mention that he does direct quotes of Marx, he does direct quotes of Mao, even throughout the whole film. The one speech he talks about politics being at the barrel of a gun is a direct Mao Zedong quote, and it comes out of revolutionary China. So I don't see where that criticism comes from unless you haven't seen the movie. You just jumped on the Twitter bandwagon, and I think a lot of people did that for this film. And even I was on it for a second there, because I thought, for example, and I think a lot of leftists need to see the perspective of who saw it first. It was Sundance people, and those tends to be more uppity, higher education type folks, who are probably looking for a more, like, I would say, like a Malcolm X biopic than what we got with this film, being more leaning towards the mainstream audience. This was to try to attract people that aren't deep into politics or philosophy, so they can get to know Fred Hampton as the person rather than just an ideological figure like Malcolm X, so they can get to know him as a person. That's why I like a lot of stuff where they did touch on him as a regular person, listening to Malcolm X quotes, interacting with his wife as well as other characters, and him just even being friendly towards the O'Neill character as well. But again, the criticism was totally false, and I think it was just to drum up hatred for the movie and get people not to see it. And honestly, funny fact, they do touch on COINTELPRO tactics, which is one of them is to get leftists to fight amongst each other over bullshit ass issues or ideology fights. And in the movie, they touch on that with one scene with the Crowns getting a letter created so-called by the Panthers, where they talk shit about the gang, the leaders, as well as their organizational structure, and where that wasn't actually made by them. It was made by the federal government themselves in order to sow distrust between the different communities. And I find it funny that we had a little taste of that with the whole, like, don't watch the movie, it's not about Fred, don't watch it, it's just Hollywood propaganda. When we actually sit down and watch the film, it's complete opposite. So
yeah,
I'm
we're
glad
still.
you brought that up, because I feel like, my bad, Chase, I gotta get this out real fast before I forget.
No,
but
good.
to piggyback off of what he said, I feel like people go into this film wanting to exploit black leaders. They want to put them on this type of pedestal to where we can sit up here and be like, oh my gosh, it's so inspirational. Oh, this person is so, it really is an exploitation. That's literally what it is.
Yeah,
and I'm glad this
those are
film
the same people that thought Green Book deserved Best Picture.
Yeah, it's like they want these two characters to represent the philosophical playground that we both currently like to debate about, but that's not what this film was about. And I'm glad that they gave us a literal snapshot. It's like they read the FBI files and then reenacted it. So it's giving us a snapshot of that time of what actually happened. This is not, it's a biopic, sure, but it's also to tell everyone, this is what happened in American history. Now there's no denying it. it's on this screen. We all have to sit here and now take in what we just saw, and we need to sit down and do more than just talk about it. So yes, Ganja, I'm glad that you went to go see it, and I'm glad that people aren't listening to the criticism, because this isn't a Hollywood film. I know what Hollywood films look like, and
I think a lot of the criticism this film is getting is coming from the people that, and I talked to this with Miss Roxy, my girlfriend, who's now living with me. Little humble brag right there. But one of the things that I notice is I feel like a lot of the criticism comes from the crowd that was really into the Chicago 7. And if anyone here actually watched the Chicago 7 film, it is 100% that like liberal idea of like the great people of history, people that were wacky and zany and just were trying to get revolutionary change, man, because that's what we fight for. That's the whole progressive system. And within the first 20 minutes of the Fred Hampton film, with the whole his quote about the Dasikian with the black intelligentsia at the time, thinking that just adopting these aesthetics would lead to a better lifestyle for the black community, and he calls it out right away. And for a lot of liberal audience, especially white liberals that love stuff like the Chicago 7, that's a really big smack in the face of their ideology and what they're used to seeing in a lot of political movies. Even some of the ones that are even more well grounded, like the Malcolm X film, still grounds itself in the idea of like, oh, great man of history's type, rather than just a regular person that wanted to do good and make change.
Oh God.
So yeah, I'm kind of impressed with this movie and just how low key it is. It doesn't put Fred Hampton on a pedestal at all. It shows him just as a guy.
Yeah.
As a guy who just wanted to do right by his community and by his people, and occasionally fucking up a little bit.
Yeah. Ganja, so you brought up a lot about the political ideology. What did you think about the film itself and the performances and the direction of it and just how they told the story?
I personally think the film was solidly made. I think, like I brought up earlier, I think if you try to make this 100% like a biopic similar that we've seen again, I'm going to keep quoting another Malcolm X film because I think what a lot of people were looking for is something that Tipler's type of vein, and that's not what we got with this. This is more of a cop drama, the type of you see in like kind of spy films, mixed with the politics as well as the historical accuracy of Fred Hampton's life. And I think the main reason it was done like that, again, I quote again, is because this film couldn't have been made otherwise. It would have been too diversive, especially in the times we live now. Hell, the film starts off with the Malcolm Luther King riots, and it's just a callback to what's going on today. And I think if it would have just took such a heavy-handed film, one, it would attract the attention of ultra right-wingers who would have shot this film down from anyone who wanted to go see it, and just ridicule it all the time. That people from the middle class area.
Pretty sure Tucker Carlson's brain would have just exploded.
Yeah, and they're less likely to go see this film now because it's on a streaming platform, and with movie theaters being more accessible to a general audience, you would get a lot of those criticisms now, where this film now is actually attracting the audience that it wants to attract, as well as people that are interested in the character, as well as the time in the history. And I think it hits on all notes. Matter of fact, it does so well on its history stuff that it sneaks in a lot of stuff that people don't know very well about Fred Hampton. For example, there's a movie where he talks about his mother babysitting Emmett Till. A lot of people don't know he has a connection to that. If you guys don't know, Emmett Till was a kid that was falsely accused of sexual assault and was pretty much killed and lynched by a white mob in the South. And that just shows how deep this connection, and it shows how what seems like long ago, even around that time, from something that occurred in the 40s, now that we're talking about the 60s, how it's not separated. None of this is separated or put in a segment separated outside of stuff. It's all concurrent and it's all connection. And one of the things I do like about this movie is it talks about the federal government in a different light that we see in a lot in different other historical movies. They try in the beginning to play the special agent character as a likable dude. The whole time he's talking about like, oh, I'm just here to try to protect the country. I'm trying to protect you. I believe in civil rights myself. I want to believe in slow progression.
Yeah, he's sold to us as a guy who's just a guy trying to do his job.
And as the movie slowly reveals, you start to see the cracks in his own philosophy, as well as like him comparing the Black Panthers to the Klan. The whole sequence where you see the different housing situation. Every time he interacts with the agent, he's in a high-level class bar. He's in an upper-scale restaurant. Whenever he's dealing with the federal government, it's never in a low-class area, except when he's spying at him at the Fred Hampton speech.
Yeah.
And I think
Right.
all that was very well done and very intentional to show that there's a very class distinction between these two different groups that are interacting with each other, but they're portrayed as the same side.
Mhm.
And as the film unravels, even to the question, I hope I'm not spoiling too much, but I really think a lot of people need to see this film specifically for these parts, is the conversation he has with his boss, J. Edgar Hoover, where he asked him plain and simple, how would you feel if your daughter brought home a black man?
Yeah.
And he can't answer the question one way or the other. And that really shows
he cannot give an answer.
But this is what
just showing.
Oh well, I just want to finish this real quick. It just shows that the white
please.
supremacy of the federal government was so ingrained that these people that even quote unquote early in the film believe in progression of civil rights, as soon as the civil rights has to be participated in their home as an individual level, they're quick to just throw it out the window. And I think the film touching on that was very well done, and I think a lot of people are going to miss that, which is sad. But I think it really shows how well this film was made and how biting it wanted to be and how well it hit the scores that it really wanted. And if there's any leftist criticism of this film, it's just generated for views and just for attraction. Because I can't think of any leftist film to be done this well and not be boring. I love Reds too, but that movie's a slog to get through.
Yeah. So you guys want to start going into
They
your
just showed
final
a good
thoughts,
balance of everything.
and just wrap it up.
Okay. So I'll Nick, I'll let you go, and then your final thoughts.
All right, this is an incredibly well-made movie, and it's probably gonna end up on one of my favorite movies of the year list. That it's just at points it's just so hard to watch because, again, this is history and it didn't happen that long ago. It's just hard to watch, and it does a good job at grounding both Fred Hampton and Bill O'Neill to an extent, to the point where when we get to the epilogue and they do like that normal biopic thing of this is what happened to these people after the events portrayed here, and that shit broke me. And it's very easy to make me cry in movies, but this is probably on my list of movies that I love that I will probably never watch again.
Yeah.
But
For
if
sure.
I do have one criticism, it's that that Martin Sheen, while he's giving a good performance, the makeup that they have him in to resemble J. Edgar Hoover, that makeup was a little sus, and I was kind of expecting him to just call up Batman on the phone and just say, "Yep, bring the money here, or I will poison Gotham's reservoir."
I guess maybe the makeup was intentional. Maybe they were trying to make him look like a white devil. Maybe.
I mean,
a goblin.
Yeah, no,
shit is
Try to make him look like a goblin.
I feel like that would be accurate.
Yeah.
He's a goblin.
This movie 9 out of 10 for me.
9 out of 10?
Performances, all the accolades. Excuse me, sorry, coffee breath. Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield, they deserve all the accolades that they are gonna get, and even Jesse Plemons, who I feel like no one's talking about, he should not be called Fat Damon anymore. He is standing on his own as an actor now.
Yeah.
Especially bringing like deceptive shades of humanity to this slimy, despicable person.
Yeah.
Yelsyn?
10 out of 10 for me, man. Like, I just felt like that the film showed a good balance between like all the point of views of like everyone who was involved in the film. Like, I feel like usually with like biopics and stuff, like they're just mostly focused on one particular story instead of everyone's story. So like I just thought that like that was a really cool thing how they did that. So yeah, like, again, great acting, great storytelling. Like another lesson that even when you snitch, it doesn't work out well for you at the end of the day. But again, man, like yeah, man, great movie, man. Like I can't really say nothing bad about it, to be honest with you. Great movie.
Chayse?
Y'all remember when I said I reserved 10s for like second viewings? I'm gonna have to disobey that rule real quick, because for me this is a 10. I ain't never angry cry at a movie before.
Bro.
So, but just all the things they touch upon, just I'm not trying to spoil too much, but just like going into the tactics that the FBI used. I forgot to mention about that incident that they're trying to frame the Black Panthers in a bad light with the FBI, about the guy that they quote unquote murdered. That was the informant that for the FBI that claimed to do the murdering. So it just there's so many levels to like the conspiracy that the FBI was doing, that this film kind of exposes, that for the most part you don't see in a typical Hollywood film. I'm honestly surprised that this film was even made. I'm surprised this film has the budget that it had, and I just hope nothing but success for it, because this is shit. This is probably gonna be in my top 10. I mean, my top 3 at least for the year. Yeah. So, and it might not be 3 or 2.
Jenna?
Definitely a 10 out of 10 for me. This doesn't get the awards that it deserves. We all know why. I mean, I'm very quiet about this film, unlike other films, because I didn't really take a critic's lens to this. The cinematography and the editing, though, is top notch. These are professionals and know what they're doing. I was well versed on Fred Hampton's life, thankfully, because I grew up in a city and a family that made sure I knew my history. And again, it's nothing but reverence. I mean, I've cried when I first read about Fred Hampton. It was heartbreaking when I was a teenager, but it also served as inspiration for me when I was very active when I was younger, to make sure that the legacy I leave behind is in alignment with what I believe in and the things I want to do for my community. So it's nothing but reverence with this film, because these were kids. We tend to forget he wasn't that old. If he was alive now, he would be saying he is Trayvon Martin. You know what I mean? So for me, it just goes to show you that the young people, you don't need to be 30, you don't need to be older in order to be down with changing the world and changing your community and going against our shitty ass government, because it is shitty. Yeah. And they don't want us to unify, because we unify, that means that we'll all benefit from the system, which is what we're supposed to be doing. So I just want to say thank you to all of them who made the film, to every single person who worked on that film. I'm extremely grateful for all of you, and to Fred Hampton's family, I hope they have found the peace that they very much deserve. And thank you again to Fred Hampton for being that light for us and still having his voice heard after all these years. So
Ganja, final thought, rating?
I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. I don't want to keep rehashing everything here. Pretty much my co-host here pretty much hit it up. Honestly, I think this movie has been portrayed in a very positive light. I don't think anything like this could ever be made. Just as much as a chance on this one. Like, I'm surprised how well this film was portrayed, how well it was shot. And not only that, I'm surprised the subject matter it was able to touch on and handle in such a delicate manner, as well as an educational manner. But not only that, but actually showing what the belief was in action, and the different antagonistic force and struggles that were going on, even between the different characters themselves, between Fred Hampton and O'Neill, and the different things they were coming from. And I really think this movie is a really great movie to sit down and have people watch, especially if you're trying to get them to a leftist perspective, so they can see what all these different contradictions, and Fred Hampton mentions in the movie, once you see the contradictions heightened so well, you start to develop a class consciousness, and you can see that throughout the film, especially as the movie progresses and he starts uniting all the different groups. I liked how well it was condensing a lot of history, as well as throwing out well-known not well-known facts about Fred Hampton as well, such as that tilting. I honestly, I can't say any more about this film. I kind of want to watch it again after we get done with this call. It's kind of one of those movies, even though it has a very sad ending. But that's kind of one of the things. What happens when you get into the struggle for the people, you don't tend to really get happy endings, unless you happen to be part of a white leftist group that you eventually become part of the government in 2008. But we'll talk about that later on my own show at the Light Podcast.
We didn't even talk about like the Rainbow Coalition, and just how
the Rainbow Coalition,
just how deep that concept is. Like the fact that he was able to unite,
and how just amazingly tense both of those scenes are. Because I've watched a lot of I'll call them black struggle movies. And the second that he walked into a room and they were hanging a Confederate flag, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
One of the things
You think you're gonna see something different, but you know, I'm glad. I'm very happy with where they took it, because that's exactly how Fred Hampton was.
Yeah.
Like
one of the things I really appreciate is how they portrayed the gangs in Chicago, because one of the things you tend to see in a lot of these films is they'll portray gangsters or people that come from that type of lifestyle as ignorant, you know, kind of like, you know, unintelligent, just dumbasses. Let's be blunt about it.
Yeah, just to quote Fox News, animals.
Exactly. And one of the things, the interaction with Fred Hampton has with the leader of the Crowns, you could tell that he was up on the game. He knew exactly what he was talking about. And as well as individual members in the Crowns, when they quote the fact that they protected Martin Luther King when he came through the neighborhood during, I think it was St. Patrick's Day, was the day they had the protest where they got run over by the white mob, and a lot of bad shit happened. I think they even threw a brick at him at one point. And they touch on that, how the gangs were active in that defense as well as they're active in the struggle as well. And I love that they didn't portray the gang members as these ignorant, just like, oh, Fred's here, bro, let's follow Fred, like he knows what's up. It actually showed there was there's intelligence in all these different groups and classes, which I really think this film is essential Marxist watching, honestly, at this point. So I think if you're a leftist, you got to watch this film, because it truly portrays ideology in the most productive light, as well as the most active light, because everything that's done in this film, he participated as well as he talked about, and you don't see that a lot in films. Usually you just see the great speech and then they cut to like some magic change happens, whereas this, you show the struggle, you show the constant harassment, they show the constant being down of the spirit, especially the jail scene where he has to write home and he's just getting letters to be fucked with by the federal authorities.
So just give my final thought.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just gotta get my final thoughts real quick, and we'll just get my rating. We'll just end the review there. So, like everybody said, I'm gonna echo a lot of stuff. Really great performances, really solid stuff. And Ganja brought up a lot of great things they did with the scenes of how they show him with the Jesse Plemons, who, like Nick said, great actor, pulling in a lot of great performances throughout his career so far. And just how the film so much resonates with today, all the conversations, all the things they do. You mentioned the Rainbow Coalition, just how like what's going on right now with leftist conversations of whether or not you should work with far right militias, can they be trusted, can they not be trusted, and the way Fred Hampton kind of moves into that room. And the way he just kind of is that smooth, you know what I mean, of how he's able to kind of diffuse that whole situation, is just really incredible. And I think it shows, how good the writing is, how good the performance is from Danny Kaluuya, from Lakeith Stanfield, who's very good in the film, and Ganja bringing up all the political ideology in the film, how it is so strong and how it does represent these people and what they believed in, and how it was so beneficial to the community, and showing the FBI of how throughout history as they've continuously done, disenfranchise and kind of just depower all these black movements throughout history. When it came to MLK, when it came to Fred Hampton, and came to Malcolm X, of trying their best to just because of that fear of the black Messiah, of the uprising of black people, to try to even just be equal, of just that fear. And so I recommend people watch this, watch MLK, FBI. Chayse photoshopped me with the laser eyes, with the African hat on right now. That.
The Koofy.
The Koofy Photoshop that right now.
Okay.
Watch that. Watch One Night in Miami. I think to watch that's required viewing. I think that's a nice trilogy of stuff you can watch, showing good entertainment, and even watch a documentary about the Black Panthers, about Fred Hampton, to even get more insights. So for me, I give it a strong 9, like 10, for me. So yeah, very, very good film. So who's does anybody have to go, or?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. But I love you guys so much.
Thanks for coming on.
Great talking to you.
Thanks. Good seeing you again.
Yeah.
Man, I fucking love you. Say hi to Roxanne. And yeah.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate you, bro. I love you. Thank you. Thank you to the co-hosts. I love this podcast. Like, you guys are very like insightful when it comes to this type of stuff. Like, I'm actually learning a few things on my own because I'm actually planning on doing a podcast sometime in the future. So yeah, like, thank you just for letting me have this experience. I really appreciate it. And nice meeting you, Jena. You're a very cool individual.
Right.
So
Before you
yeah.
go, Jena, promote your stuff, and Yelsyn, promote your stuff.
Oh, I mean, as y'all can see, I'm getting done up. I'm gonna have a whole bunch of stuff dropping within the next few weeks. So check me out on Instagram at damngina, Jena, to stay updated on all the things I'm doing, all the films that I'm making, and how much I hate my government.
All right. Thank you, Jen. Yelsyn, promote your stuff, your socials, projects, everything like that.
all right, cool, man. So I make clothes and shit. Like, this is my hoodie. Like, I designed this hoodie. Me and my friend Tabby designed this hoodie. Shout out to Tabby. But my Instagram is Yelsyn Web Official. I know Yelsyn is kind of a tough name to spell, so that's YELSYN. And yeah, like, I'm currently designing some like new stuff, so stay tuned for that. For sure.
I'll be honest, man. I don't want to interrupt your thing, but I almost called you Yelsyn.
Right. And you got a website too. You got a website, right?
FWPTclothing.com.
All right. Okay. Everybody go to the website. I think I bought every kind of hoodie from him. You know what I mean? He makes good clothes. I like it a lot. You know what I mean? Very good stuff. Shirts, hoodies, got all that good stuff there. You know what I mean? So go to FWPTclothing.com. Check the stuff out. Thank you for coming on, man. Really appreciate it.
No problem, man. Hopefully I can get back on the show pretty soon so I can do the whole podcast with you guys.
All right, sweet.
Okay.
Thank you.
For sure, bro. For sure,
right,
bro.
man.
Thank you guys, man. Nice meeting y'all again.
Thank you.
That's
All
me
right,
too.
bro. All right,
Take
man.
care, man.
Bye.
Yeah. All right. So Ganja, you want to get into the Gina Carano news, right?
Of course, sir.
All right. So let's get some.
How do you get fired on your day off? As people say back in the day?
When the mouse is begging you, Mickey is on his knees begging. Please don't. Just stop tweeting. Oh.
All right, you gotta teach me how to do your Mickey because my Mickey is terrible.
Just stop tweeting for one goddamn day. Oh.
They're about to give her they were about to give her a spin-off. She fumbled the spin-off bag.
You're about to get your own show.
And she can't even act.
Like this?
So we're gonna get into it. So if anybody doesn't know, if they already don't know, so Gina Carano, star of The Mandalorian, as Cara Dune. She was just recently fired from The Mandalorian. Lucasfilm finally just made a statement like they finally just pulled down the hammer. It was just too much, and this is something that had been building for a while. A lot of people have been calling for her to be fired due to her various social media posts, on Twitter, on Parler, posts in which she does a lot of anti-mask stuff, does a lot of conspiracy theorist type stuff, very much of that. So a lot of people have been and also transphobia, some transphobic things. So a lot of people have been kind of calling for her to be fired for a while now, and a lot of canceling her and all this other type of stuff. So Lucasfilm finally, there was a tweet that there was a straw that broke the camel's back, and this is the tweet. So I'm gonna pull it up right here. The tweet that she mentioned. So it was a tweet in which she had a photo of a person bleeding and bloody running, right? And the caption was, Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is it that any different from hating someone for their political views? Well, I can tell you there's a big fucking difference.
She kind of had a point before. She had a point before that last sentence.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yep. Jews were beaten in the streets by their neighbors. All right. Whoa. And
yeah, this has nothing to do with you being MAGA. Like, you were not even close to being persecuted.
It's like,
I hate to break it to you. You had a TV deal.
You're not being put in a fucking concentration camp for wearing a MAGA hat and spreading dangerous misinformation about the pandemic.
Yeah.
You're facing consequences for being a dickhead. That's all that is happening.
Yeah.
It's freedom of speech, not freedom of consequence.
Yeah.
So, Ganja, where are you at with this?
I'm sorry. That last one sounded like a clown honk to me, bro. I'm sorry. I'm childish as shit.
Yeah, sorry. My girl's.
You want to get that? You got it. Your girl trying.
Hey yo, if you gotta get the door, get the door.
Yeah, man. You can get the door, man.
No,
Is that the
it's
doorbell?
No, it's the building manager. He's like testing the smoke alarm.
Oh, he ain't got no control of
okay.
that shit. I got you.
They come out randomly.
Oh, okay.
Nah, man. All right, can you repeat the question, please?
I said, so where do you stand on this, Ganja? Do you think she should have been fired? I'm gonna ask that question to everybody, but do you think she should be fired? What do you think about the post and all the situation building?
Oh, sorry. Start off the post because that's the easy answers. Dumbass post. That shit you sharing like secret groups with like your right wing friends that like they gonna leak shit because everyone trying to lose their job type shit. You don't share that with the wider internet. Yeah, you share that with the wider audience. And I think one of the things that is an example of is like the internet culture. People don't know how to handle it, especially the new school professionals, because we're so used to like posting all of our thoughts and ideas on there, and there is still consequences to it. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. And now they're getting a wake up call to like internet culture is not guaranteed freedom of speech. And for some reason, a lot of people on the right-wing ideology spectrum think it's guaranteed you can say certain things on Facebook or Twitter and not have any consequences come back to you. But if they would have said that at the office at the same time, it would get them fired and they'd be out of HR training before they know it. But again, it's a concept these people have where, I'm just doing my freedom of speech, even though these are private platforms. See, I have a radical opinion where I do believe in a true freedom of speech. But the thing is, these people wouldn't like that stuff because Fred Hampton would have got shot under my idea of freedom of speech. Yeah. But at the same point in time, they don't want that. They want to be able to express themselves without anyone comes for them, and that's what they really want. And that's essentially what she's expressing.
They want the freedom to express themselves without the consequence of saying, "No, you're a fucking dumbass."
But they don't want the consequence.
You're an idiot, and here's exactly why.
And they don't want the consequences for people that they don't like either. For example, like as soon as this happened, Ben Shapiro and a bunch of other like right-wing outlets came out and just like started pushing stories about, Pedro Pascal compared the whole children in a camp situation to the concentration camps in the Nazi Germany too, and they're trying to get him fired now for making the comparison.
Inapplicable comparison.
Yeah.
And exactly, but that's the thing. That's how these guys are.
And the fucking funniest one is Ted Cruz doing what he famously does and missing the point, and defending everybody he's not married to.
And essentially that's what they are. They defend their right-wing ideology because at the end of the day they want to be victim as much as the right-wingers have this thing where they want to be strong and they also want to be weak, and they do that with everything you see. Anything they're afraid of or they think they're stronger than them, they play this duality of like, I'm either afraid of it because it's gonna beat me down, or I'm not afraid of it, I don't give a fuck because who cares about it, I'm trying to get mine kind of mentality. And whenever that gets blocked, especially with a lot of private companies, they get mad. But then again, they don't want these same private companies to get freedom of speech, quote unquote, what they want, because then you're gonna have like movies like Fred Hampton get more and more made, and then they're gonna have more ideas about the communist plot of Hollywood.
Yeah. Chayse?
Yeah, they
Should she have been fired? And then going into that.
Absolutely. The fuck? Listen. We live in a whack ass country where like a business could reject a gay couple like a bakery can reject a gay couple from baking their cake or the wedding cake. Listen, you can't have it both ways, okay? If you're gonna be this hateful and this and espouse this it's not even an ideology, it's just stupidity on the internet and try to influence people to follow your lead, you have the right to get fired. And the company that you work under has the right to do so.
Yeah.
If like Ganja said, if you were to pull up to any office and say this shit, like you get fired on spot. You show up in an interview talking about QAnon type shit, they are not going to contact you ever again, and nor should they. you're crazy, and you know, but I'm just it's like with Chris Pratt. Like, I'm not so angry at Chris Pratt because he doesn't espouse his terrible beliefs every chance he gets. Gina,
Chris Pratt, it's less applicable comparison because one, he's a little more low key about it. He's not spreading dangerous misinformation about a global pandemic.
Yeah,
on his social media.
Like, could Andy Samberg do his job better? Yes, absolutely. He would He'd probably be a better Star-Lord. But you know, I'm not as angry with Chris Pratt because he's not out here every chance he gets saying some stupid shit. With Gina, it's just like, all right, like every chance she gets, every week, it's something stupid.
Exactly. You know, the offices at Lucasfilm, Disney, the mouse has been like, okay, I'm just gonna let you off with a warning. Don't do it again.
Yeah.
And at this time, it's like, oh my god, fuck. All right, at this point, it's better to just cut your losses and fire her, because if you keep her around, then you have a whole just PR fucking nightmare. All of a sudden, Disney is pandemic denying. Disney's transphobic because they're backing this actress.
Yeah.
But
he's kind of a shitty actress anyway, so no loss there.
Yeah, it's not even just that. I feel like on set even, because you gotta think they're on set for 12 hours. I could not imagine trying to be on set with her for 12 hours.
Yeah.
And also
that sounds like
just on the fucking transphobic stuff. You have a lead on your show, Pedro Pascal, who's very close, whose sister just came out as a trans woman, and it's one of those situations. One, he's a bigger star than her. He's the lead of the show, so he probably has a little more pull than her. Is like, and you can probably tell that. I think right after that post, she explained in a tweet, is like, that behavior was coming from a place of ignorance. Pedro sat down with me, explained why. I'm sorry, my bad. She should have just shut the fuck up then.
Yeah.
So
especially if she has co-stars that are so patient, because I couldn't.
Y'all talking to the wrong one. She's a habitual line stepper. Disney had to cut their loss before she says some other fucking dumb shit that's gonna get them lose more money.
Yeah.
Or worse, on set.
Yeah.
Also, it's just, do you not know what system you work for?
Yeah.
You're in Hollywood. You're in like one of the, well, on paper, most liberal outlets in the world, and you're spouting all this like QAnon, MAGA conspiracy bullshit. Now you're gonna be stuck doing shit God's Not Dead 5 with Kevin Sorbo.
I'm not surprised. I don't get why people that are the Hollywood type are always like shocked Pikachu face when people get blacklisted. They've been blacklisting people since the fucking 20s.
Yeah. This ain't nothing new.
Oh, you go
my
ahead.
bad. I was just gonna talk about with the Fresh Prince the Union special. We just talked about Viv finally getting back into roles and stuff like that, because she was low key blacklisted because of the falling out.
Yeah, blackball for that. Yeah. So to come into this situation, before she made this post, I was never really big on the whole cancel firing Gina Carano thing. I was kind of like, if they fire her, okay. If they don't, okay. I'm still gonna watch the show. So I can't, advocate like, oh yeah, big into like getting rid of her, and if I'm still gonna support the show and watch the show. So I kind of was never really that big into it. I do understand why she got fired for this post in particular. And then when people say like, oh, she's getting fired for her beliefs, it's like, if you have conservative beliefs, which are, let's say if she talked about trickle down economics, right? Somebody made that. If she had a whole thread about why it's better than any other type of economics,
I'd still fire her.
I don't think she'd be fired for something like that, right?
Yes. In my opinion, this is not a case of someone being fired for their beliefs. This is someone being fired for over and over and over again using their platform to spread misinformation, just spread idiotic false beliefs, and just potentially dangerous ideologies. Because we just saw less than a month ago the epitome of that with the insurrection at the Capitol.
Yeah. And
and understandably, Disney wants no fucking part of that.
Yeah. And the thing is,
And
then people
I'll use conservative logic. Disney and Lucasfilm are a private company. They can hire and fire people on whatever they want to do. There's no law against it.
The free market.
Well, so it's not that. So Disney, listen, and when people think this, you think you're backing the corporation of Disney. I don't care about Disney. If Disney failed out tomorrow, I could honestly care less. It's a multi-billion-dollar corporation that only cares about the bottom line. They care about money.
Yeah,
what's good for
fucking
money.
Disney's gonna be fine.
As a Florida kid, I'm holding my Disney-shaped Mickey Mouse ice cream. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you know what I mean.
You know what you talking about for the city of Orlando? You talking about mass unemployment?
Yeah, no, I can't fully co-sign that, John.
I'm a Florida kid too. I got my fucking Mickey Mouse ears. You hear the fucking impression? Huh?
Hey, I don't know about you, but I'm trying to go to Atlanta and get these Marvel checks. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm trying to like hold out until like, at least Shang-Chi comes out. Like, let's be cool.
So people say like, well, you know, it's liberal Hollywood and everything like that. First of all, it's the continual victimization of these people who constantly feel like their views. It's like they care about Hollywood cares about money. It's not that Hollywood's liberal. They made fake liberal stuff. They care about money. That's what the bottom line is. And then if people want to try to draw an equivalent of like people brought up like, well, Disney, you know, they worked with internment camps when they were making Mulan, for instance, like that, right? And they work with dictators and things like that nature, right? That's wrong.
Yeah,
right.
That is wrong, but also court of public opinion and the return on Mulan, they paid a price for that.
Yeah,
there was actually in some way there were consequences for that.
Yeah, and the thing is, people who complain about that, you didn't stop watching Disney stuff. You still have Disney Plus. You still watch them.
You're still subscribed to Disney Plus. You're still watching Mandalorian. You're fucking tweeting about WandaVision every week.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So as much as you railing against it, it's like, you know, and people can say, and I'm not blaming you if you do that. I mean, listen, there's no ethical consumption sometimes under capitalism, you know, and, you know, like we all know how terrible the working conditions are with Amazon. People still buy from Amazon. People still go to Walmart. You know what I mean? Those are just the situations we live in this country, in this world, you know, and nobody's faulting you for that. And then if people want to bring up another comparison with the woman, her name is Christina Ariel. She was a woman. She's a writer. She did Star Wars: The High Republic. And she talked about a lot of racism she's faced and talked about, you know, white supremacy and things like that. So in people's minds and dumb-dumb's brains, right, them trying to process, to them, that's the same thing as Gina Carano in her statement, right? You know what I mean? You know, and she's a black supremacist for saying racism is bad. So a person who calls out racism is just as bad as a person who espouses, you know what I mean, dumb comparisons between, you know, Jewish people and Republicans and makes these comparisons, because in these people's minds, everything is slavery. Wearing a mask is slavery, and wearing a mask is just like how they led the Jews to the gas chamber. It's all the same thing, right? It's all the same thing. There's no nuance in these discussions. And I've heard these real discussions. I'm telling you, I've heard interviews and I've watched stuff with these, you know, people talking. Like they compare masks to everything from communism to Marxism to socialism to slavery to the Holocaust. Everything is all these things in one.
It's one of those conversations. It's like they're just spouting these words. It's like, do you actually know what that means, or are you just repeating what you heard on Fox News?
The communism makes me hilarious because if we had a quarter of the power they talk we have free healthcare by now. At least that.
You know, I mean, Joseph Stalin is in office right now, and he's not. I mean, I'm still waiting on the return on this investment of this communist America.
Yeah.
Oh, so you invested in AMC too, dog? Shit, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Actually, I do have stock in AMC right now. Actually.
Oh, my hand, me too. I fell for that.
My Dodge coming.
Oh, man.
Going to the moon.
To the moon.
But I bought AMC stock like way before the pandemic. I bought that stock way a long time ago. But so yeah, I mean, so her getting fired, I mean, it's like, well, this is stuff that just finally, it was a straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, this was just, I mean, you know, you had numerous opportunities. And you know,
you for sure have been warned about this behavior before, but
yeah, and
you didn't want to listen.
Yeah, you just
Cool.
did
We can
one of
replace you. Just
Yeah.
get fucking like Katie Sackhoff as a series regular and have her fill Cara Dune's role.
Yeah, and most people, if you're looking at this objectively, like taking out your views of her, Gina Carano can't act. She's not good. Like, you know,
Exactly. She's only given one passable performance in her career, and that was with that movie Haywire, directed by Steven Soderbergh, who that man is a fucking wizard. He got good performances out of J-Lo and Channing Tatum. The man is a goddamn miracle.
What if he could get Bruce Willis to act again?
That would be something special. You know what I mean? That should be his next challenge. Absolutely.
But hey, I mean, and I was the in terms of her acting, I was the sort of apologist on the podcast. She did her job. She showed up for the fight scenes. That's all we really needed. That's all you're supposed to expect from her. So
cool. Now let's get someone who can actually act. And, like,
she won't be missed.
No win.
Bring Bill Burr back. I need some of that more space Boston accent. Give me that.
That's
shit.
facts. That's facts. Can we just visit Space Boston? Honestly, like I want to see what Space Dunkin' Donuts is like. Like
I fucking love Dunkin'.
This is gonna be the first episode of Mandalorian with just like a warning about language.
That's what we need, though. That's what we need. Uncuffed Bill Burr on Mando.
Yeah, I heard he wasn't too happy about her firing. I heard on his podcast from somebody, but I don't know. I didn't listen to the podcast.
I mean,
he wasn't too happy about it.
I mean, like I know like they've met, so there's like a sort of personal level on it, and he's always kind of been a contrarian to some degree.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Like
he's a bit of a contrarian. I think at least from what little of his podcast I've listened to, I think he's kind of a moderate, but he leans a little more towards the right wing.
I'd say left a little bit, but
I think his politics socially are left because I followed Bill Burr for a long time. But like, here's the thing. All right, so as a former comedian myself, I used to do stand up in my younger days, and one of the things that I really got to stress for a lot of people, especially as people get more into the comedy scene, asking comedians how they feel about freedom of speech is like asking an oil company their opinion on the environment. It's gonna tend to lean on their way because that's their bread and butter. Like they're gonna always support unlimited freedom of speech because that you're gonna possibly stop a skit they want to do for Saturday Night Live that involves unicorn dicks or some shit if you put that in law. So like, you can't really ask them their opinion on freedom of speech because they're gonna be inherently biased anyways.
Yeah.
This is true.
But I feel like the difference though is most comedians have a nuance to their opinions or their or like even like I follow Andrew Schultz and I know he says some like sometimes borderline like very aggressive stuff
there was a whole,
to say the least. But you know there's always like there's some nuance to what to him and he has, and his intentions are never really like aggressively hateful, if you get what I mean.
There's some nuance to his argument, and you can at least tell that he's at least spent some time looking at the other side of the coin.
Yeah. But with Bill Burr especially, like I think honestly it's him and Dave that are like the two best in my opinion stand-ups right now, like alive. You know.
So to get back to just Gina Carano, and so
she sucks.
So she just recently teamed up with Ben Shapiro's film production company, the Daily Wire. That news just dropped recently. So now, I mean, she's going to be seen as this martyr of free speech and cancel culture and things like that.
Might make as much money as she was on her Disney contract. It's sad to say.
Shit, how much Ben be making for grifting?
I know Steven Shapiro's a millionaire.
Is he?
Steven Crowder and Shapiro are at least millionaires.
Yeah. So listen, I will say this about Daily Wire and everything like that. I'm always supportive of people like going outside of Hollywood, doing your own thing. Like Tyler Perry, like he has his own town, city or whatever. So
It's definitely a cult.
But so if you
like on the level of a Jared Leto who literally started a cult.
Yeah, so if you can do that, I mean, if you, I mean, that's great. I mean, you use your own money, funding by people. If you want to do your own thing, great. I mean, outside the Hollywood system, absolutely great. I think that's terrific. I think that's wonderful. And Gina Carano wants to. I think that's terrific and wonderful. And people want to support her. That's great. It's just a lot of these people, when she first came out, I mean, you can look at, you can look through their tweets a year ago, do a test. Look at their tweets from, years ago when the show first came out and when her character first got introduced.
It's like, social justice warrior bullshit. She's a Mary Sue. Fuck this show.
She looks like a man, blah, blah, blah. She's got all these muscles, blah, blah. You can go back, look through all the stuff. But then now it's like Disney hates strong women. She was just this icon character that little girls could look up to, and Disney doesn't like that, and blah, blah, blah. And then now you have all these anti-SJW reactionary channels, just right on the spot. They had the thumbnails ready. They was like ready to go.
It was like there's a fucking formula for that shit.
They were planning on this. They're waiting for it.
They were quick. It was not even an hour later, and all those like anti-SJW channels, all of them had a video about Gina Carano.
Yeah.
My favorite were the ones that were anti-Gina Carano in the beginning. Just switched it up. They forget their videos are archived. I love it.
Yeah, no, that's. I feel like that's the gem with like conservative media. They all have like those tweets, those videos.
Just a bunch of fucking grifters. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
They make money off of outrage, and if there's nothing to be mad about, they'll make you mad about something. They'll do something,
If there's nothing to make you mad about, they'll make some shit up.
I, for one, can't wait for her movie with Kevin Sorbo where they fight Antifa, and it's the whole Civil War. Nancy Pelosi got some machine gun. She's anti-gun.
I can't wait for the fucking faith-based Expendables movie with Kevin Sorbo, Kirk Cameron, where they're fighting the radical left and Antifa.
Oh man.
Now I do remember denying, like saying in the group chat, like, yo, we should not watch the Ben Shapiro movie because he did drop a movie, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah,
but we should not review it.
Die Hard as a school shooting.
Yeah, his production company distributed it. He didn't make it, just like his production company distributed it.
Oh, so he bagged it up. He didn't create it. I got you.
But that Gina Carano versus Antifa movie, I want to watch that shit. That sounds like some kooky shit. I'm gonna watch it illegally. You're
gonna get the one big stereotype one where it's the girl with like the nose ring and she got the hair and shit. She don't really exist in real life because I'm in actual leftist circles. You rarely see all combination of this, but in the right wing's perspective, they're terrified of this. And she's gonna come in like the final boss and shit.
You're gonna have the
with a septum piercing, blue hair.
You're gonna have the Mountain in a wig as a trans woman, and and she is the villain in that.
Yeah.
Oh god.
But so yeah.
As much shit as I'm talking, I kind of want to see this just for.
This movie's gonna be
Would that count as right-wing exploitation film?
That shit is a drunk watch party that I am looking forward to.
Absolutely, yeah. I think they do.
That's
something like
funny
that.
as shit.
We should check it out. We should check it out.
That's funny as shit. I need to see that. I need that trend of right wing exploitation films. That sounds funny as hell.
We just get the MAGA version of the Expendables.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So just Kevin Sorbo, Kirk Cameron, Gina Carano, and Marjorie Green.
So to just like do final thoughts and everything like that on the subject. So what do you all think is going to happen, like with the spinoff with her character? Do you think kill her character off, replace it with another character, or just recast the character just to get talks around the room?
It's a big galaxy. They could just ignore her existence.
It's like
I think that's what they should do.
Just do what they did with Poochie on The Simpsons, like Cara Dune. Ship exploded on her way home. And just bring in like Katie Sackhoff's character back, filling her role.
I mean, they could just cast somebody else to be, not just Cara Dune, but just like a totally different character.
Cast Lux Pascal as as like her stand-in for that character.
Yeah. Ganja, what do you think?
I honestly think when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's gonna happen more and more often. And I don't have a real like soft opinion on it because as a leftist, we have to deal with this constantly. It doesn't get reported in the news; it just happens. So I'm just like, haha, I'm to you now. So hopefully I don't lose my job.
Yeah.
It's like
I don't play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Exactly. I have a hard time feeling bad for you because even at my job, I had to shut my mouth. I can't get to the interview and be like, oh, so what do you plan to do when you come to the job? Oh, I plan to unionize your ice cream shop. I ain't getting like, how do you think you're gonna work at like some multi-international corporation that sells, LGBT pins now with the Mickey Mouse logo on it and try to say transphobic shit? That's not gonna work. That's like Snoop Dogg talking shit about weed.
Yeah.
It's like Joe Rogan.
Just don't make no sense.
UFC.
Yeah.
Just don't make no sense.
So we're gonna move on. Hey, Ganja, do you have
Fired on your day off.
Ganja, do you have to go or?
Yeah, I gotta head out, y'all. So thank you for having me.
Man.
Thanks for being on.
Yeah, pimp your stuff there, man.
Yeah, I got you. Go check out me at the Chat Tech. We do this over at the Double Topus Twitch as well as our own channels. It's on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and a bunch of other platforms. So go check that out. We do that almost every other day of the week. But we are going to be taking a break next week, so we're finally check out our archives and stuff. I do the Umlauti podcast. We do that every Tuesday. Me and my Birdman, and of course my good old friend Matt Williams. We talk about politics, all kinds of stuff. So you like me talking about politics and history here? Go check that out. That gets released again every Tuesday as part of a wider network called the Metropolis Collective. So go check that out. All right, y'all. You guys have a great night. And I hope I didn't talk over y'all, and I hope I was a good addition to the show. I really appreciate it.
Great.
With you guys.
Thank you for coming on.
You were
back.
great, man.
This is fun, man.
Thank you guys. You guys have a great show, and keep it rolling.
All right, man. Thank you
too.
Peace.
Have a good one. It's like,
I didn't even know they were still doing the chat attack.
oh fuck. I just realized he's told us you guys have a good show, and I just said you too.
Yeah. Well, he does have a good show, so you're not lying. He does have a good show.
True. But it's also like when you're like checking out at the movie theater, it's like, thank you, Theater 7, enjoy your movie. And it's like, you too.
Oh yeah. You too.
Oh yeah.
And you like waitress hands you some food and go like, enjoy your food. And be like, oh, you too.
Yeah. You're working. You're not going to see that food.
Yeah. But yeah. So my personal bid. Let's get Miranda Maverick. Let's get that trend in. Let's have her replace Cara Dune.
Yeah. Honestly, yo, that'd be fire. That'd be fire.
I mean?
Yeah. One problem with that, she hasn't seen Star Wars.
That's okay. That doesn't matter.
Cancel
Bill
her.
Burr.
Cancel her.
Bill Burr hates. Bill Burr
I'm gonna take this shirt
Star
off.
Wars, and he got cast, so it doesn't matter. I mean, Bill Burr said he hated Star Wars and he got cast, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Yeah, that's all right.
Miranda, she ain't about that Hollywood shit. She's there to fuck. She's there to fuck shit up, not there to like do Hollywood and all that.
Now, by the time that the podcast goes up, her fight probably has already happened. So, we're still gonna just wish her good luck if you're watching this, Miranda.
Yeah, good time. We're all wearing the shirts. I'm wearing the shirt right here. Fear the Maverick, all that stuff like that.
Military post sucks, so I'm on my old Maverick shirt.
Yeah, so we all wishing her the best. I was looking up some videos about the fight, about the UFC 258 event, which is tomorrow, February 13th. So it seems like she's the favorite in it.
She's favored over Jillian Robertson. Yeah, she was named John Anik, the color commentator for the UFC. He named her his number one prospect at 2020.
Yeah, so it seems like she's really good. Striking ability, ground ability. Yeah, she's got.
Yeah, and when I first met her and started training with her, she was mostly a grappler, mostly a wrestler, jiu-jitsu, amazing jiu-jitsu, and now her striking's on the same level as her ground game.
Yeah. So yeah, we're all wishing her the best. Wish her. Yeah, I hope she wins. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that should be a good fight. For as long as it may last. Yo, don't get popped by that elbow, dog. That joint. Damn near broke that girl's nose off.
So do you want to move on to all the boys, or?
Yeah, let's just get that over with.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's move.
Okay. So
that
to all the
over with.
boys.
You
So
hating, brother.
Y'all
You
got
hating.
10 minutes. Y'all got 10 minutes. I'll put the timer
Motherfucker, you
on.
hating.
So we're gonna review. So to all the boys, always and forever, which is a Netflix film. It is the third film in the To All the Boys trilogy. First one was so it's based on a series of novels. I watched the other two. I don't know if did you two ever see the other two films or no?
This is the first time.
I watched the other two about a year ago.
Oh, okay.
Is this like an anthology or something?
No, it's
all one continuous story. But the first one, it came out I think in 2018. It came out the same year Netflix was putting a whole lot of like romantic comedies straight to Netflix. It was when shit like The Fucking Kissing Booth or whatever other crap like that was being dropped. And honestly, this is probably one of the better ones. At least the first one was.
Yeah, the first one I liked. I thought it was cute.
Yeah, I genuinely liked the first one.
Lana Condor. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Lana Condor, she is charismatic as hell, and she has really good chemistry with Noah Centineo, who has kind of just been in other things, but he really shines when he's working together with her. And this is like a rare teen romantic comedy where the two leads actually communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
I'll give it that.
actually fucking talk to one another.
Yeah.
And conflicts are actually handled in a really mature way.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll give it that.
I will say it's not so kind of cheap drama for cheap drama's sake, and you know.
And also, no character is a complete piece of shit in this. I'm looking at you, the fucking Kissing Booth, with
you know, and so it does handle teenagers very well and not making them complete monsters or complete idiots or something like that, which is nice. And like I said, I was a fan of the first one. I thought it was really cute. Very well done, nice performances. Lana Condor is absolutely really charming, and she has great chemistry with the lead. And what I liked about that film was it took like a traditional kind of romantic plot, right, and kind of added a nice little spice to it, because it was all about her having to, because if everybody knows the main premise of the first one, it was like she writes these letters for people that she's severely in love with. And then she doesn't send out the letters to people. She keeps them in like a little box, right? And just when she has those feelings that are so strong, she writes them out. And her sister ends up mailing out those letters to all the boyfriends she wrote them about. And then one of them was like to one of her male best friends. And then it's like kind of, comedy ensues of like, no, I don't really, that was a mistake.
Yeah,
I'm really in a relationship.
Yeah, it was like her sister's ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
No.
So wait, is this all following is this a trilogy of the same character?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same kid. Yeah. So if you watch the first one, she ends up with the guy she was pretending to be in a relationship with to avoid, trying to be attracted to her sister's ex-boyfriend. So in this one, it follows up more, because in the second one, the big controversy with the
second one is easily the weakest. The second one is where they throw out a lot of character development from the first and just go more in favor of doing a generic romantic comedy.
Yeah.
And they add in like a third party for a love triangle, which doesn't really work.
Yeah, because the third one was all about, because like I mentioned, they send out the letters. So in the sequel, it was all about a letter got sent out to her very, very first love, like when she was like a little kid. And then now he's like, okay, well, hey, I read the letter. I like you that way too. And then now it was like you said, kind of a lame kind of love triangle type situation a little bit there. This one, the big kind of conflict in this one is that they're going off to college and she's trying to make the decision. She has her whole life planned out with him, that we're both going to go to Stanford. I'm going to go for English Lit. He's going to, he's got a scholarship to go to Stanford for lacrosse. So they have their whole lives kind of planned out in that sense.
And hey, what's that? Who's that at the door? Oh, life.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody knows
fuck
that.
your plan.
You know what I mean? Everybody knows
Fuck your
how
plan.
Shitty plan at that.
feels like when you're a teenager and you're growing up, it's like, oh yeah, man, I'm gonna do this when I get old. I'm gonna go to this school. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And then life just says, man, sit your bitch ass down. You know what I mean? Uppercuts. You know, just Mike Tyson's your ass. Like, nah, you're not doing none of that, bro. Chill out. You know what I mean? So she, is waiting on this pending acceptance letter from Stanford, gets it back. She's denied. She's, not going there. So she has to make a decision to go to another backup school, UC Berkeley. So now it's all about this thing of like, well, I really want to go with him. And I want to, how's that going to be long distance? Which I kind of predicted in the second film, because I'm like, one of my criticisms was, a lot of these things are so important to these teenage characters right now, right?
Which kind of, that's, the movie doesn't talk down to you. It's like, yeah, when you're a teenager, these feelings, these plans you have, they do feel like the end of the world when you're a teenager.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I think out of all like the Netflix teen movies, this probably handles it the best out of all of them.
Yeah, I do think so, but it's still a little annoying, just a tad bit for me.
It is a little saccharine at certain points. It is a little overly sweet, but especially after watching Judas and the Black Messiah, I could have used like a little spoonful of sugar to help the medicine go down.
Yeah. You could have used some Oreo cereal, you know what I mean? Like,
see, maybe the problem was I watched this before Judas, so I'm a lot more jaded. This for me at least, I just thought this film was just so plainly average. Now my problem is, right, because you're right, they do handle it, the characters themselves handle these situations a lot more mature than we have typically seen them done. But the problem is that the plot itself I've seen 1,000 times. Yeah. And there's nothing really new that they add to it except for a slight up on maturity. Now, the one thing I do like about this movie that I do have to give this credit for was how they handled the boyfriend character and how they made him not so much of this needy for the sake of the plot, but kind of like he was grounded with his daddy issues. I did actually appreciate that, because at first I thought it felt like they were gonna go the more stereotypical route where he's just like a needy bitch, which he is, but there's a reason behind it, which I respect the film for.
He is like, at least he is a little needy, but it's also needy in a very realistic and grounded sense. It's because like the entire movie, all these issues in their relationship are being brought up, and he's very understanding. It's like, okay.
But my problem is that throughout this movie, you just know what's going to happen. You know that as soon as she gets to New York, she's gonna fall in love with the city. It's gonna turn into an NYU ad for like 30 minutes, and then it's gonna. And then she's gonna have to make the big decision of whether or not to pick the school of her dreams or her boyfriend.
Which for a Netflix rom-com, holy shit, you're actually letting your female lead make a decision that doesn't completely revolve around her relationship. It was like,
true. All right, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Well, I mean, it still does. The conflict revolves around that relationship, though. But I do like the message, even though the message is everything that we already should know, which is never pick.
Yeah, it's like
your relationship over your life. I mean, your high school relationship.
You gotta put your life first. You can't put your future on hold over a relationship. You gotta choose yourself. And if you want like something to work, you gotta fucking put in work to make it.
Yeah, Bubbles agree. Yeah. It's like, yeah, absolutely.
But it's just that. It's just that, like, aside from the boyfriend character, I wasn't really that impressed with too many of the other characters. They're all very, like I had a series of questions I wanted to ask you guys about this.
Okay.
Because
sure.
Do you feel like the protagonist herself did anything surprising to you? You know what I mean? You feel like she.
What
Do you feel like there were any choices that she made that were unpredictable? That really like invested you into the plot. You know what I'm saying? Like.
I wouldn't say that she made any decisions that were unpredictable. I feel like your criticism is that this movie is formulaic, which it is. There's no denying that, but a formula can work when your actors and your characters, when it can work when it's all done in earnest. And I feel like that's kind of the strength of this movie and in Lana Condor's performance.
Okay. I mean, I guess it just didn't hit for me because I do like some formulaic movies. If I don't praise this movie, I gotta hand in my Asian American card. No, you don't.
They do a nice, because the
God.
beginning of the movie, it opens with them in Seoul, Korea.
And I will say the production design in this movie, I think it's the best of the series because it like starts with like this little hand-drawn animation, and then all of a sudden Lana Condor enters the frame, and then it transitioned into this like cute little bakery, which those actually exist. It's like their architecture and the way they're designed, they look like they're hand-drawn and animated. Those were really nice. Those were really well done.
To go back to the formulaic point though, so my problem with this movie is that they don't really give her a chance to be different than any other protagonist that we've seen in this film, and that's my biggest problem with it.
I would say the opposite because
really,
because in like say a standard formulaic rom-com, like the plot with her like not getting into Stanford, that would have been like a third act reveal and the impetus for them breaking up in the traditional rom-com.
But I mean, her decision to go to New York was what broke them up.
The A conflict would have been the reason for a breakup in any other romantic comedy.
But I still feel like all the beats in this were very much just the typical rom-com. Like they didn't reinvent anything here. Because like all the beats are still like the same. It's just like
not everything needs to reinvent the wheel. It was like
But see, the thing is, everything about this film is just so painfully average, in my opinion. Like all the characters, there's like none of the characters are overly funny or charming. It's just
in comparison to other Netflix rom-coms, especially Netflix rom-coms, average is like the ball is like A material.
I mean, I think with Lana Condor, I think she's got a lot of good personality, very charming, very likable. I think, and sometimes you'll see in Hollywood relationships and when they do romantic comedies, like they portray love as, especially from like if it's a main character, a woman, that the male character has to sacrifice everything to be with them. You know what I mean? It's all about making that big sacrifice because that's how much you love them. But in this one, I don't think there's that, right? I think there's very much, like you said, Nick, they very much really communicate. They talk to each other. It's about, like, hey, you have to live your life. You can't just, sometimes things just don't work out and you have to make the best decisions.
Which for the teen audience that this movie is definitely being geared towards, that's a fucking good message for them to hear.
Yeah, and when they go to New York, I mean, it is corny, it's cheesy, because it's a lot of like a tourist vlog of New York where they all looking up, oh shit, oh buildings, oh my god.
It's literally an NYU ad for like 40 minutes.
It's an NYU ad and it's a bakery ad, which was pissing off my dog because at least a third of those were chocolate and she can't eat any of it.
So that was to me the weakest part of the movie when they go to New York and everything like that. Like you said,
the weakest stuff in this is when it pretty much becomes a tourism ad.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of weak to me. But to give my final rating for it, just to wrap up and everything like that, I still really prefer the first one the best. I thought it was the best one. When I heard they were going to, like, it's based on a series of novels, they're going to do a sequel. I think they are going to do a fourth one. To my knowledge,
I think they said this is the last one.
Oh, this is the last one? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they said this is the final.
Okay.
Because this was filmed in 2019, and then, you know, pandemic happened. Actors are getting older. Noah Centineo, he's just got cast in Hawkman as Atom Smasher. He gonna be busy.
Yeah, true. So okay, so this last one. So yeah, I still prefer the first one a lot. I think I like this maybe a little bit better than the second one. I mean, you know, why? I mean, you probably don't care what grown ass men think about, you know, romantic comedy with teenagers.
Yeah,
you know, like three grown men reviewing a teenage rom-com.
Yeah,
all 5 Valley girls that are gonna look up reviews are gonna see 3 grown ass men talk about this movie and click away.
Yeah, but I would give it a light 6, strong 5 out of 10 for me. You know what I mean? What about you, Chayse?
It's a 5, and a strong 5. I will give it its credit. It just it does a solid job avoiding some of the cringy cliches, but it doesn't do anything like really unique. It's too long too. It's almost 2 hours, bro. This shit could have been chopped to. This shit could have been chopped to 1:30, and I probably would have given it a 6. But it's just, every scene is just so predictable. There's nothing really all that engaging for me, at least, as a person that doesn't typically enjoy rom-coms to begin with. I don't really like the characters. They're just very passable. They're very rom-com-y. So I'm gonna pass it on to Nick. I'm done talking about this.
Okay, I feel like I'm the one out of this group that liked this movie the most because like I said, with the first one in comparison to other like Netflix rom-coms, you have characters that actually communicate. You have a male love interest that isn't a gaslighting, borderline abusive piece of shit.
Yeah.
He gaslit still. He's still gaslit a little bit.
Not to the extent like in like the kissing booth or anything like that.
True.
But yep. Just for like how honest and maturely all the conflicts in this movie are handled, especially for a teen movie, which is so rare, especially in 2021. And just Lana Condor, she's giving a great performance. Her and Noah Centineo, they still have great chemistry. The messages of this movie, I think, are like really well handled. It is a little too long, and it does at a certain point become just like an Instagram influencer's highlight reel. and for that, I got to give this like a 7 out of 10. I also do feel like the plot points in this movie, this feels more like a condensed season of a TV show than it does a movie.
I don't know if I could have survived.
You kind of have like a Korea trip arc, you have a New York trip arc, prom, which is all these movies, and a wedding arc.
Yeah, it is dense. I will give it that, but it's just dense with much going on, in my opinion.
It is dense with not much going on, but your leads have good enough chemistry, and the dialogue, I think, is like passable, which for a teen rom-com, it's Jesus, goddamn, all right.
Yeah.
And this movie is a little saccharine, but I occasionally like sappy shit.
Okay.
All right. So moving on from discussing To All the Boys, Always and Forever, I'm going to discuss the newest episode of WandaVision.
Wait, hold on. My bad. I forgot. They missed the perfect opportunity to play Always and Forever by Luther Vandross, and they didn't. How are you going to name this movie Always and Forever and not play that song once?
I don't know.
WandaVision time. That's the biggest sin of that movie.
Speed and Wiccan in the middle.
Dude, I was like waiting for them to play Always and Forever as their song. And cause like that was like the one thing that was probably like unpredictable about that movie is that they didn't play that song. I was waiting for it. But anyway, WandaVision, much better.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, so in this latest episode of WandaVision, first of all, we opened with a nice Malcolm in the Middle intro. Shout out to Malcolm in the Middle. So
we're in the 90s now.
Yeah, so Malcolm in the Middle was like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, I tried to like do my hair like 90s pretty boy. I was like, it ain't working.
Yeah.
I see it now.
They said
you
first,
see it now?
So Malcolm in the Middle first came on in 2000, way back when.
Really?
Wow, yeah.
Still counts.
So
set in the 90s still counts.
So that's a show I'm very, very familiar with, growing up watching. Very, very good show. Bryan Cranston, that's the first time I've ever seen Bryan Cranston, was in Malcolm in the Middle. I mean, didn't think he had what he had capable of him now in his career. Didn't think that watching the show, but I mean, very, very impressive. So yeah, they open with a nice intro to that. You see Quicksilver still here. He's with the family. They do very much of that Malcolm in the Middle style, because everybody remembers that show. We remember that Frankie Muniz, who was the main character, he would always talk to the camera, so they do very much of that.
Yeah, Malcolm in the Middle is very much, I think the comparison's pretty apt. It's like a serialized version of something like Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
Except everyone's kind of just shitting on Malcolm the entire series instead of like propping him up.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
And you're kind of getting that with Wanda's kids, which this episode focuses more on, with Tommy and Billy, who this is the Halloween special, and they're in their comic accurate suits. Like Wanda's kids in the comics are called Speed and Wiccan, and they're dressed like they are in the comics.
Yeah, everybody is. Vision, her, Quicksilver is like
no eating mommy's laptop. Sorry, my dog's chilling on the table.
Oh, good.
So they all in their comic book accurate costumes. Yeah, and Elizabeth Olsen looks really, really nice, and her, Scarlet.
You can get it.
You know what I mean? It's funny when her kids said, like, "Are you just old Red Riding Hood?" I'm like, damn.
She's not that old.
Yeah, well, to kids, everybody above, 18 is old.
And which leads to another like Malcolm joke and how they do like cutaways, which was something that like really started getting introduced in the 90s, even seeing like a sitcom version of Sokovia.
Like they do the nice cutaway gags, so they do all that here. And so, like I said, they're all in the comic book accurate costumes and these kind of cheaply kind of looking things. It's kind of fun. It's really nice.
It's just proving that, some of these costumes, you can't translate them to live action. They look stupid.
Yeah.
So,
which is why you gotta use them as Halloween costumes.
Outside of what's happening with the whole kind of storyline that Wanda's going through, we see the director, we see the aftermath of Wanda coming out the bubble, of her turning the guns on the sword director, and we see a confrontation between Monica Rambeau and the sword director. I want your opinions on the sword director as a character, because I feel like what they're doing with him feels kind of very basic, feels very kind of cheap. I don't know, because his reactions to almost blowing up Wanda, then kicking out Monica Rambeau and Darcy and Jimmy Woo, it just seems kind of like a much of an overreaction, and them really trying to push him as like another secondary villain. I want to get you guys' opinion.
That was my first thought, but then Hayward, the name of the sword director, he brings up a good point. Is like, you people who blipped, you were lucky. You didn't have to experience 5 years of total chaos in the world. And it does bring up a good point of how like 5 years of that can change a person.
Yeah. I think with that. My bad.
It's like I know I've worked in the government. I'm military now, and I know people who are like that, and they would absolutely overreact like that. It's not all handled fairly realistically.
Chayse?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I feel like once he's mentioned the whole blip, I feel like that in itself is a psychologically scarring event that none of us will really fully comprehend. So him jumping to these kind of like outlandish solutions,
jumping to the more aggressive solutions to handling a problem like this, because that was 5 years. We had no idea like what kind of shit he's seen during that time, which is kind of the benefit of shows like WandaVision and stuff like, hopefully Falcon and the Winter Soldier delves into that in a couple weeks when that starts airing.
Yeah, so for now, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm just going to see where they take him, because I feel like the judgment right now is a little bit premature. But we'll see. By the end of the season, if he's still just one note overreacting, then I feel like that's a fair criticism. But for now, we just got to let things play out.
Okay. So with Vision, we see him. He's trying to get answers. You see him. He's patrolling the edges of the town to see like what's going on. As he's as he's going around, he's seeing kind of these people just standing there. These people just repeating the same motions over and over again, like they're animatronic figures. Like
it reminded me a lot of the simulation episode of Rick and Morty, where Jerry was just like running around the simulation, and just how at 1% how all of that was acting. I've expected one of the neighbors to come out of the neighborhood and was like, "My man, my man."
Yeah. I mean, you see a nice creepy moment where a woman's hanging the Halloween decorations over and over again, and you see a tear kind of run down her face, just like this very creepy moment. You know what I mean? 'Cause people are, like, is it really Wanda that would put these people in that much pain and everything like that? Because with Quicksilver, with Evan Peters, and I want to get you all's opinions of what's going on with this character, because as you mentioned with the cutaway gag where they bring up Sokovia, she was like, well, I don't remember it like that. I don't actually remember that. And then they bring up the fact that he even brought up the fact that like he looks different. And she was like, why do you look so different? Like, why is that? You know what I mean? And
where's your accent? Where's yours?
Where's your accent? Yeah, so they bring up like a lot of that stuff. And the fact that, again, it's him and Herb coming to her and going to her like, well, clearly, I mean, like you're all doing this, you're doing this. I'm only here as a manifestation of your help because I'm the crazy uncle that you're gonna have conflict with, and it's gonna help the kids. And
I'm here to stir up trouble with the husband.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm here to do. I'm the brother-in-law and all that other stuff. That's what I'm here to do. So kind of thing. So what do you? I mean, do you think it could just be him as like Quicksilver is Mephisto? Because if he was Mephisto, it just doesn't make any sense. Because why appear as Evan Peters and not appear as Aaron Taylor Johnson? Like, why do that?
My theory, it goes back into the commercial that plays during this episode. It's called Yo Magic, feeding on Yo Magic. This is. I think Evan Peters is Mephisto disguised as a version of her brother, and he is feeding on Wanda's powers because Wanda is doing this, but Evan Peters Quicksilver, he is there as like as this sort of, like, if you stay here, you get your brother back.
Okay, but I just wonder, like, if you were trying to trick her, if you try to really make her believe in it, why show up as like this other different version of this person, and then why not show a traditional version?
Well, even in Doctor Strange, they point out that yes, even magic has its limits.
I'm still
even if you can't bring someone like back from the dead, you can get close.
Right. But what if, I mean, you don't think he could like just make himself look like Aaron did, like use magic to just make himself look like that?
Yeah, no, I'm still in the multiverse camp where like this is, I mean, granted, this could be, I don't think this is exactly the Pietro from the X-Men universe, the Fox X-Men universe. I think this is some sort of variation of him, because I know they mention his sister in those movies, but she's like younger. She's not even his twin, right? In those movies.
Yeah. They mentioned the like little sister.
Yeah. So I'm still in the camp of him being in the multiverse. Now his self-awareness, like with him mentioning like Oh yeah, no, this is much better than what you usually use your powers for. Like I thought that was hilarious. I don't know exactly
just, like,
what that means.
I love
but-
his little lines of that he is in the know of what is going on. It's like,
Yeah.
where have you had all these kids before? Because like a couple episodes ago, there were no kids in this entire show. And
Yeah,
now it's like sprawling, filled with kids at Halloween.
Yeah.
but I'm not entirely convinced that this though. But
Interesting.
I mean, I'm not going to toss that theory out because I mean this shit could end any way. This shit could be totally trippy. We don't even know what to expect the next episode because even with Agnes, she sort of throws us off a little bit.
Speaking of Agnes, can we go ahead and start the campaign to give Kathryn Hahn the Emmy for Best Supporting Actress? Because holy shit,
Yeah.
she is goddamn, she is amazing in this episode and this whole show.
So
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down. Give her the award.
So Vision, when he's going outside the edge of town, he sees Agnes, and she's just in the car, just sitting there, and he uses some kind of touch. I don't know what actually Vision does when he touches, but he breaks them out of the whatever.
Yeah,
thing
it's like
they're in.
it's established he can break them out of the trance because I think in this version he still has a version of the Mind Stone.
Yeah.
So because we see in previews, it's like Wanda, she's interacting with a glowing yellow rock, which we know as the Mind Stone.
Yeah. So
Now.
when he sees her, he touches her, and he breaks her out, and she asks him, "Is he there to save him? Save them?" And because he's an Avenger. Of course, Vision doesn't know any of his life past, so he doesn't know about the Avengers or anything like that. And he actually tries to leave the bubble. We actually get to see what it's like for him to leave the bubble, and he cannot because he gets pulled back in. So I don't know if that's because that's just the power of the bubble of just like that hold of him, or it's just because he is dead and he just can't leave this existence, this reality. It won't allow him to leave.
That's what I got out of it.
That's how I took it. It's like Vision is only alive and walking around because he is inside the hex.
Yeah. And you see him being kind of pulled apart, ripped apart. And her son, who's Wiccan, who has the same abilities as his mother does, he's able to hear his father, Vision, and then he goes to her, and then she's able to kind of use her powers even more, expands the hex, right, and converts all these other things, around them, and makes it even bigger. Makes
sword agents turn to clowns, the tents become circus tents.
Yeah, you know what I mean. She just
Pretty accurate.
I'm trying to because next week is going to be like the 2000s, so it's probably going to be their The Office or their Modern Family episodes. I'm curious to see what the Hex did to Kat Dennings, and I'm wondering if this series is how they're going to introduce mutants into the MCU, because they mentioned with Monica Rambeau that she's gone through the Hex twice, and that has like changed her on a cellular level. And how is this how they're going to introduce the mutants?
Yeah.
So she's gonna like expand the bubble like all around the world, possibly.
Well, no, not to that extent, but well, how do I describe it? Because Wanda's story, and especially if they are going to end up introducing the X-Men now that they own them, you have to bring in the mutants if you're gonna do the Scarlet Witch story. Because
this is very loosely based on House of M.
Yeah,
where Wanda wished a world without mutants.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for her to say that line at the end of this series, however long it goes. But to go back to Kat Dennings, even though I hate this show with a passion, I wouldn't be mad if they did a callback to Two Broke Girls.
Yeah, that would. Yeah,
I really wouldn't be mad for this one in particular.
It would fit.
Yeah,
it came out like mid 2010s, I think. Yeah, it would kind of fit. Yeah, she's the waitress or something.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind that. Yeah. So with this one, because more about Quicksilver, because personality wise, I don't think he really feels like the Quicksilver from the Fox universe, because I mean he was a smart ass in that, but it seems like this one he's a little bit more cruel in this one, you know what I mean? Because like when Vision's getting ripped apart and he says to Wanda, you know, like, oh what, I mean your husband can't die for a second time, and she blasts his blasts his ass all the way across. You know what I mean? Like just blast him all the way across. She also sees him dead, which I don't know if that means that is that a projection, like just her mentally, or is that the Quicksilver, Evan Peters Quicksilver is dead, because he wasn't dead in the Fox universe, he was alive. Yeah. And he mentions he's got shot. So again, I don't know how all that really kind of works. And
he wasn't in the Logan movie, so technically he could be dead.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, depending. Yeah, that's true, because that's all the way in the future. And the last one we saw him in, he was in the 90s. Yeah. So you know, maybe. Yeah.
I'm reaching like a motherfucker, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, with this show, reach as far as you fucking want. And going back to who we think the Luke Skywalker-esque cameo is, how fucking nuts would it be if they brought back Steve Rogers? They brought old ass Captain America, and he like goes to the Hex to talk to Wanda, and he comes out as young Chris Evans again.
Or maybe he just talks her down, you know. Maybe like I remember there was this moment in Justice League the animated series where Batman, you know, there's a character in it who has kind of similar powers to Wanda, where she could like warp reality.
Ace,
yeah, and she could warp reality, and her power.
That episode broke me.
Yeah, and her powers would get so out of control that, you know, she was kind of destroying everything around her, and she had no control over it. And all Batman did was he just went to go talk to her. That's all. He just literally just talked her down. You know what I mean? Because she was dying, and that's all he did. He just sat with her and talked to her, and then just talked her down. So I don't know if they are gonna maybe do something like that. That'd be very nice. If anybody remembers that episode, I don't remember the name of it, title of the episode. But it was a very good episode.
There have been rumors that kind of link back to that, to a potential Cap cameo in one of these TV shows, because there've been rumors that Chris Evans might return, not necessarily to be in to have his own movie again or have his own franchise, but to make like a cameo such as this potentially. And if they don't bring in Magneto, I wouldn't be mad if they brought in Steve Rogers like that, especially like this. That would actually be pretty dope.
Yeah, because Monica Rambeau, she's mentioning that, yep, I have a way back inside the Hex, and she just has to meet her contact, and hope that next week we get to see who that is.
Yeah, that would be dope.
Because because when they got kicked out of the camp by the Sword Director, Monica and Jimmy Woo and Darcy, nice action moment for Woo, you know, Woo and Monica. He kept kiss some ass. Nice, great moment for him, you know what I mean? And they go back into the camp, and then Darcy starts doing some hacking, finds out some, you know, secret projects that the Sword Director's been working on, things like that. So, but Woo and Monica Rambeau, they ran away. They got away before the Hex, you know, fully engulfed a lot of people. So they were able to get away. So did the Sword Director as well. So I just want to get you guys' final thoughts of what do you think is going to happen next episode? Just like ratings for this episode, possibly, everything like that. Nick?
This entire series has been like straight 9s, if not 10s, for basically the first 2 episodes. This had some of my favorite moments of the whole show, especially with the interaction between Evan Peters, Quicksilver, and Wanda, and just how good their chemistry is. And Evan Peters, he's the one character who is asking the right fucking questions. It's like, how do you do all this?
Yeah.
And I kind of called that. Yeah, it was like, as she's explained to him, it's like even she's like kind of unaware of how. Yeah. And I just loved like the little moments of character development, especially with Monica Rambeau. It's like you got character development in one goddamn line. It's like, I know what Wanda's going through, and I'm not gonna stop until I help her. And especially because given that character's history with Captain Marvel, and potentially setting her up to become a superpowered character, and potentially setting up conflict for Captain Marvel 2. And again, just my favorite performance from Catherine Hahn this entire series, because especially as she's doing like that little freak out when Vision snaps her to reality, it's like she starts maniacally laughing, all is lost, and then Vision snaps her back, and that turn, it's like, have a good night, neighbor. And she just snaps back to sitcom personality, and just, damn, very few actors can pull that off so convincingly.
Yeah, now this might end up being one of my favorite Marvel properties, even compared to some of the Netflix properties like Daredevil.
Yeah, and say what, I love Daredevil. I loved at least the first season of Jessica Jones. I loved season 2 of Luke Cage, but even those, even at their height, they always felt like TV.
Yeah.
This feels cinematic. The mouse was writing them checks for this show.
This got a budget, and you could see it. But yeah, no, this is another great episode. I do have a question though about Agnes, because part of me, while she was going through all that, I was like convinced that, okay, maybe she is innocent in all this. Because at first, I was on the bandwagon with her being Agatha, another sorcerer, or not sorcerer, witch. But it was the laugh that made me feel like she was acting. You guys think she was acting, or do you think he is actually under Wanda's control? I
think she is play acting.
Okay.
Because, again, going back to the commercial of Yo Magic, which, very 90s commercial.
Yeah.
And it's just saying, it's like feeding on Yo Magic to stay alive. And I feel like that's whatever like entity that is really responsible for this, that's what they're doing with Wanda. It's like they're trying to coerce her into using her powers so they can feed on her magic. And I feel like the reveal of like Mephisto, or potentially even Dormammu, as like the main villain of this series, and I feel like Agnes is like the vessel of which he is using her, because she's only really like snapping only when Vision is around.
That's
true.
That's true.
So I feel like she's either like trying to like sow some conflict between Wanda and Vision, so Wanda has to use her powers even more to control Vision. I mean, it's crazy to see, like, so like the character Herb, like, he even asked Wanda, like, hey, is everything okay? Everything good? Can I do anything? You want us to change?
Yeah,
anything. So I don't know if this world that's trying to trick her into thinking that she does have all this great power, that she is doing all this herself, that she is doing all this, or if it's if it's something else that like I said, is feeding off of her, probably to make her use her powers more. But I'm interested to see what happens next episode, as always. This is very, very interesting stuff.
I have potentially oddball theory. It was like, whatever demonic entity that is doing this, they cannot enter our world unless they have a body. And Vision is essentially an empty husk without the Mind Stone. And what if whatever demon this is wants to use Vision's body to come into our world?
True. Yeah. That'd be nice. Yeah. Or maybe he possesses Wanda, and that's the reason he becomes the villain. Maybe in Doctor Strange 2, maybe. All right, so moving on from that, I'm gonna do a quick news story real quick. So The Last of Us TV series has found its Joel and Ellie. Pedro Pascal, who's blowing up, man. I mean, he just
good for him.
Had a great streak. From Game of Thrones to The Mandalorian, to Narcos, to now this. I mean, he's really just blown up and appeared in a lot of stuff lately. And he's been around for a while. because I saw a clip of him when he was in Buffy. I don't even remember him in that, but he was in Buffy for like an episode.
There's like so many actors that I never even realized were in Buffy.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's wild, yeah. But so he is gonna be Joel, and this is via Deadline here. It's gonna be HBO. The show's gonna be HBO. Ellie's gonna be played by Bella Ramsey, who people know she was Lyanna Mormont. She was Little Bear.
Yeah.
So she's the one that bitched out all those grown ass men. You know what I mean? In front of everybody.
Shit, the Night King stayed over the wall just in case fucking Lyanna Mormont.
So yeah, I mean, she even fought in the big battle and everything. All
Yeah.
the little armor and everything. Yeah, she was badass, man. So she'll make a great Ellie.
Oh yeah, easily.
Drunkman and Mazin write and executive produce. Carol Strauss from Game of Thrones and Chernobyl are also executive producers on this, along with Naughty Dog president Evan Wells. And you also have PlayStation Productions that are on this as well. So what do you guys think about the cast news? Good, bad, kind of meh? I mean, how are you looking forward? Are you more excited about the Last of Us series with all this talent involved? Get your thoughts on that.
I am much more excited for it than I was before, to be honest with you. Because, I still haven't played the games. I watched the playthrough for the first one. But, I wasn't excited about seeing this adapted as a TV show. I mean, the game itself is very cinematic by its lonesome. So for it to be adapted into a TV show, is it a TV show or a movie?
It is a series. It's a series.
Okay, all right, that's good. I have a lot more faith in it as a TV series because they have more time to flesh out. That shit is like 100 hours. No, not 100 hours. It's like maybe 40 hours of content, 40 to 50,
like
right?
A 40-hour. Yeah, the first game is like a 40-hour game if you like explore every single corner.
Yeah, so now they have the time and they obviously now have the talent. So, I'm looking forward to it a lot more than I would have if they had casted. I don't know. Who even was in the running besides Pedro and Mashallah Ali?
I don't know.
I think like Josh Brolin, Daphne Keane, Caitlin Dever. I think Caitlin Dever, she was like campaigning to play Ellie, but I think she's too old a little bit.
Yeah, very much so.
Josh Brolin, I mean, that would have been interesting. I think Josh Brolin could have pulled it off.
Yeah, especially because Josh Brolin was kind of Troy Baker's inspiration for Joel.
Oh, really?
I could see it.
Okay. Oh, nice. Any particular role, or just his overall acting career? Or?
If I had to guess, I'd say No Country for Men.
Huh.
Okay. So what about you, Nick? What do you think about the cast news? Everything about that, the series?
Shit, Pedro Pascal is one of my favorite actors, and I am always down to see him in anything. He was easily the best part of Wonder Woman 84. And Bella Ramsey, I feel like she was one of the highlights in the latter seasons of Game of Thrones. She was like consistently one of the better characters on that show, and it'd be cool to see what she can do as the lead in a series like The Last of Us, because as cinematic and as unnecessary of it is to see it adapted, there are still a lot of fascinating stories you could tell within the universe, and I'm glad the talent that they're putting behind this show, because Craig Mazin, he showrunner, wrote Chernobyl, which was one of the most horrifying series I've ever seen on HBO. And I feel like he could do a lot of like really creative things with the world of The Last of Us, especially like once they better give this a budget, because once you like introduce the clickers and the bloaters into live action, those could be really cool to see. I'd be curious to see who they cast for the other primary characters. Like I'd be curious to see who they cast as Tommy once that news eventually gets going. Who they cast for I'm trying to remember his name, but whatever Nolan North's character was in the first game, the like cannibal.
Okay.
I saw some
'Cause,
bad
like,
memes.
I was kind of hoping that the show would just take this world and do another story, but I think the story of the first game it's good enough that you could do a straight adaptation. It would still make really compelling TV.
Yeah. I've seen some bad memes saying that they should cast the Mountain as Abby.
That would be great. Oh, jeez.
Yo, Josh, what you
Gina
doing in
Carano
your
could have
glitch?
been- Gina Carano could have been Abby if she kept her mouth shut.
Oh my god, dude.
Yo,
Abby needs a better actor, to be fair.
yeah, because
But
yeah. Abby needs someone who can act.
yeah, but yo, Josh, you glitching, my guy.
Yeah,
You look like you.
I'm frozen.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus! I don't know why.
Yeah, you look like you look like you got stuck flexing.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's kind of funny.
It is. This conversation.
It looked like a reverse jerk off. Like he was like.
oh, but
it looks like you're
still,
jerking off. It looks like you're jerking off the mountain off camera. It's like he's in
You
the
can
corner,
still
it's like-
hear me or no?
Yeah, we can still.
yeah,
hear
we can
you.
still hear you. It's just your screen's frozen.
Okay, let me turn it off and turn it back on. But with the whole series and everything like that, it's just kind of hard because the game is such an immersive experience with hundreds, with many hours of gameplay. It's just like, well, why do you really need a show when you had that game that had that much of an experience? I mean, it's just gonna feel like, well, if I really played through it, why do I need to see a show of it? So I think the show has to really be something of an uphill battle of being really good and really great. So like, well, I can just simply play it.
Yeah, no matter what, the show was always going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah.
But again, the talent behind and on camera, I feel like they're coming with the right tools to do it.
Yeah, I like the talent. I have faith in them and what they'll do behind the series. Good talent. So we'll look forward to it.
Yeah.
Also, real quick, just to discuss the Falcon and Winter Soldier trailer and just the Super Bowl and things like that. Did anybody watch the Super Bowl game?
I watched
Nope.
like half of it, but
Dude,
shit,
I'm like
kinda
16 hours ahead. That shit was coming on at like 7 in the morning for me.
bad.
You wake up 7 in the morning though sometimes, huh?
Yeah, for the
Yeah, for
pod.
this show.
Yeah.
I had to work during the Super Bowl. I was like, all right, fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed by it. I was hoping.
Yeah,
I
am as a Floridian, I am proud to see Tom Brady embracing his inner Florida man.
Yeah.
He definitely is a
just-
Florida man.
He was, at that Super Bowl parade, his ass was slapped.
Yeah, absolutely.
uh,
Absolutely zooted.
he was having a good time. He was having fun. I was rooting for Patrick Mahomes. But I mean, terrible offensive line, and he was running for his life the entire game.
Yeah.
And Tampa Bay just had a better team, up and down defense. And then unfortunately, so it's a terrible game for Mahomes. But I mean, he's a young guy, only like 24, 25 years old. Definitely, more than likely will have an opportunity to be back. Did you all like the halftime show?
I didn't watch it. My bad.
I only saw the memes.
Yeah,
I mean,
I only saw the
this-
memes.
Do you feel it now, Mr. Krabs?
Yeah, there's some good memes of like the weekend him performing. He's like in this kind of like on stage. I don't know what you would call it, like kind of like this House of Mirrors kind of looking type thing.
Yeah.
And then some good memes like Joe Biden trying to find the Oval Office and things like that. And he's got them looking around. So yeah, some good memes to come from it.
It was like him grabbing the camera. There's like dubbed over Heath Ledger's Joker.
Were there any notable commercials?
Yeah, there was some notable commercials a little bit.
I saw the Amazon Alexa one with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah. There was the one with Matthew McConaughey, the 3D Doritos one. I'm just happy 3D Doritos are back. I miss those. Those have been gone for so long. You know what I mean? I'm just happy they're back. So yeah, there's that. There was some notable commercials. Also there was a big for like Falcon Winter Soldier. What did you all think about that trailer?
Looked interesting.
That trailer, again, that trailer fucks.
Yeah, I mean,
that shit looks so sick.
Yeah, nah, it's
because I'm glad it looks like it's going for like the sillier action movie tone.
Yeah,
especially bringing a character like Zemo back, who there's a lot of potentially interesting places you could take that character, especially given his stance on super individuals and the fact that the world just suffered through the blip.
Yeah.
Like he has
and potentially interesting political stances, political lenses you could go to, just with the fact that, you know, the U.S. government's probably not too happy about a black Captain America.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, one of the things that it looks like they are going to be balancing throughout the trailer is that political aspect, but also with the comedic sort of buddy cop dynamic that Falcon and Bucky have. So I'm looking forward to that. That shit should be funny. Even in the trailer, like they have a little moment where they're like, at the end, I think it was like them like having a staring contest. It's so stupid. But
what's going on? They have the therapist in the background. Wait, what's going on? You guys having a staring contest right now? I was like, I just love how that petty little rivalry that they have.
Yeah.
And I just love that they're getting an entire series. I was like, this looks like this is going to be the MCU's version of like Lethal Weapon or something.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. Because I think in terms of TV shows, this is probably going to be the closest return to form for Marvel for a little bit. But
yeah, WandaVision is kind of like their experimental.
Yeah.
The time to experiment, and now we get more the comfort food side of the MCU, which it looks like they're taking a lot of cues from Civil War, from Winter Soldier, and which some of the best of Marvel. Civil War, at least the Winter Soldier, I still stand as the best MCU movie.
Yeah, like you said, Lethal Weapon. That's a good comparison. And they work well off each other. Looks like, and seeing them how they develop throughout all the movies, their relationship is also kind of nice to see. So I mean, you can also see the amount of money that they're putting into a series like this. Just like WandaVision, they're putting a lot of money into this. And also, this is coming around the corner, March 19th. So
I was shocked how soon this show is coming out. It was like WandaVision's gonna be wrap up in 3-4 weeks, and a week later, Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I think that's perfect.
Marvel Studios is back, baby.
I
think that's perfect for Disney Plus. You know,
and
makes you keep it.
Cancel Disney Plus, like that. Nobody ain't canceling that shit. Hell no. They keeping that
hell no.
Just like people say cancel Netflix, ain't it? Come on, man. You ain't gonna cancel.
Oh, fucker.
Let's be real.
Come on, people still got their Netflix up. You know what I mean? So, So
as soon as Cobra Kai come out,
that's not happening.
Soon as Stranger Things 4 is out, there's like, subscribe.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all the news we got, people, today. All our topics, movie reviews. We hope you liked the show. Hope you enjoyed everything. Nick, where can people find you? Drop the stuff.
All right, you can find me Twitter, Instagram at Night and Day Nick. You can follow my doggo, who is napping in the corner. Get over here. You can follow Bubbles at bub.bles.
She kind of got a bedhead right now.
Exactly. Sorry, girl. She was napping. Like, holy shit! I don't pay attention to her for like 5 minutes, and now she don't want me.
All right. Chayse.
You can find me at Mr. Chayse Mac at Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Mr. MrChaysemac. Where can they find us as the Afternoon Tune?
Afternoon Tune. So, hey, people, check us out on all the social medias. We're on Twitter, twitter.com, the Afternoon Tune. We're on Facebook, The Afternoon Tune. We are also on Instagram at The Afternoon Tune. We're also TikTokers, doing that good TikTok stuff. You know what I mean? Doing the bust it, silhouette. Check us out. You know what I mean? We're TikTokers, so check us out on TikTok at The Afternoon Tune. If you want to check out the content, we are available wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Of course, we're also on YouTube at youtube.com/afternoon. We're doing Twitch streams. We're doing that regularly, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time every Saturday. We're going to be doing Twitch streams. We're going to do that. We're doing that regularly now. We got coming up tomorrow, Saturday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. We got Call of Duty Warzone. I'm playing some Call of Duty. So
we are
out there. Well, yeah, we are. Yeah,
it's news to me.
You don't have Call of Duty, but me and Nick are.
Okay, all right.
You could download Apex. You could do Apex.
I'll just talk shit from the sidelines.
Okay. We can always also play Apex. We can also do that. We do another Apex. Right?
That's crossplay, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, we're on Twitch, twitch.tv/The Afternoon Tune. Check us out on that. So just look up everything The Afternoon Tune. Don't forget to put the in front of it, The Afternoon Tune. So to all you people out there listening to this, hope you enjoy listening to this. Valentine's Day is coming up. If you're listening to this Valentine's Day, hey, happy Valentine's Day to all you people out there. Love, trying to get that out there. Hey, hope you have a great one. So again, hope you enjoy the show. Hope you enjoy listening. Hope you enjoy listening to our reviews. And don't forget to always stay
tuned. You missed it, Nick.